Trigger warning. This video contains lots of triggers. If you are sensitive to precise transient detection, customizable sample layering, or anything resembling workflow efficiency, please look away now. Waves have just released a new plugin which is pretty insane what it can do. It is a drum replacer. I'm going to start off with just showing you what it's like as a gate without even adding any sample replacement whatsoever. I've done it here for these toms. Let me just solo this section here. It's 3 toms around the kit. Okay, so I've got some EQ followed by InTrigger. So InTrigger is the new plugin, and just for an example, I'll take it out. Pretty big difference. I'm going to take this back to factory default and we'll just work on this tom-tom alone. We'll hit learn. Already it's picked up on a few different hits. You can hear some of the resonance of the tom as the kick is playing by the looks of it. I'll just play that section again and we'll get it a bit more refined. That's pretty much it. We'll probably take it up even a bit more. So what we've got here is a graphical representation of all the different elements that it can hear in the track, and it's basically saying this is the main thing that we're targeting, and if we want to, we can lower the threshold and you'll see some of these other things start to come back in. But what you can do is you can tell it to be more extreme in how it separates those things from one another. Now in its current state, it is still quite tight. So what I would do is I would come in, I would get the attack quite fast and then just play with the hold and the release like you would in a normal gate, just to get a nice clean sound. Maybe a little bit shorter. I'm happy with that. I'm going to turn it all the way to source. I don't think that makes a difference because we're not actually using any samples yet. Pretty good gate, pretty massive difference considering it can tell the difference between all these toms, because obviously that first tom-tom is heard in the second mic and it's just not picking it up, which is great, which is exactly what you want. So that's the gate functionality. What about samples? So I have used it, what have I used it on? I've used it on the kick. I used it to enhance cross stick just in one particular section of the song. Let me show you that. Unfortunately, I can't show you the song itself. And yes, I've got trigger 2 there because that's generally what I would have used, but I'm coming around to this. I think it's got some advantages, particularly in the detection side of things, that you don't have to play around with it so much to get exactly what you want. All right, so we've got some rim shots here. Rim shot samples. Don't know if I can play them by clicking them. That would be a nice feature to have. Nonetheless, these tabs represent the 2 samples. Within this, you can tune them up or down. You can pan them. You can adjust the volume. You can add a delay if you want. You can also add fades. You can shorten them. Whatever you want to do, chop off the beginning to get exactly what you want. In this case, what I should have done is turned it all the way to trigger. Let's have a listen to what it sounds like. Actually, let's listen to the source first. So I'm literally using some triggers just to trigger these samples. The actual outcome is this. And in context, we get what else? I can show you the snare in a different part of the song. I'm a big fan of the Pearl Vector. Let's see if we can beat it. Pretty happy with that, to be honest. I wanted a big snare. Let's hear it in context. Let me get a bigger section so we can hear it. Now the big question is, did it pick up on those ghost notes? And the answer is no, because I'm triggering it with a trigger. But for the sake of argument, if I bring, say, the original snare down, copy it, let's see how good it can decipher between everything that's in that. So let me just bypass it. We'll hear what it sounds like before everything. Unfortunately, it's missing one of those ghost notes. All right, let's take it back to default state. Okay, so what you want to do to get the best out of it is to select something where you've got a good representation of what's in there. We'll go back to default, go learn. And if I have a look at the ghost notes in here, look at that, beautifully picks them up. Amazing. If you feed it the right information, it will do a great job of picking up those little ghost notes on the snare. Let's hear the whole section. So that initial hit I want to get rid of. So if I click on that, I can mute it. Okay. So we did have a bit of a snare rattle there that it picked up on, but that is pretty insane. So as far as building samples, you can add samples here, and what you do is you go double click, come down here, and you can load either your own from local files, or you can try and find one yourself. So these are all, I think, one shots. InTrigger doesn't rely on like a bank of samples that are different velocity levels. It automatically adjusts the intensity of the sound based on the intensity of the source. So it will adjust the volume and also modulate the pitch using the Humanize control. So that's pretty intense. Quite like that. I'm going to drop that there. Another thing you can do is, the song that I'm working on is in G major, and so it'll transpose that sample automatically, which is pretty cool. Not sure why it's not filtering with the key. Oh, there we go. A lot of snares in here. Scrolling. Eventually we'll get to G. We don't have G. Why don't we have G? G2, minor, G2. Why would it be a minor? Okay. Quite like that one. I'm gonna grab that and chuck it in. What have we got? All right. I'm just gonna smash it with this compressor. The ghost notes. So with this Humanize control, we can make it more human, or we can turn it off. Let's have a listen. Let's have a look at the kick and see how we go replacing that. We'll go with the mono version because it's a kick. There are also live versions for live sound engineers. I think you lose some functionality. Let's get it to learn. Pretty beefy sound already. Let's see if we can improve on that sound. Even just as a gate, like that's pretty insane. That's an improvement in and of itself. Let's have a look at kick samples. Whoa. Let me just turn this down so it doesn't blast us. Okay. They're all a bit electronic-y, so I'm going to go for acoustic. That's not bad. Let's drop that in. It's blending quite nice. There must be something going on in terms of lining up the phase. Let's see what happens if I throw this out of phase. So it seems as though it's detecting the phase of those hits pretty well and then locking it in with the sample. I'm impressed. And that blend to me sounds pretty good. Let's play everything together and see how it sounds in context. There are other things that you can do. It's got a CR8 sampler in there and you can play around with things like the envelope. Lots of things to go crazy on. It's a damn good gate straight out of the marks without playing around with too much stuff. That is InTrigger by Waves. If you want to check it out, you can use my affiliate link, which helps out the channel. Hopefully I didn't trigger anyone. Thank you for watching and happy mixing.